and Brian Kamenetsky, the best half of the well-known L.A. Kamenetsky brothers.
I think that is 100% true.
We say that every time you're here, and I think we do it as well with your brother.
Probably. But it's a lie when you do it with him. It's humor.
You're
just trying to, Brian. You're humoring him when you do it with him. It's good for his ego.
Right? You believe it when I say it?
No, I believe it.
Yeah. Well, good to see you both. I'm glad that you both are here as we get right into it. The Lakers had plenty of treats and no tricks in their Halloween win over Houston. You see here what the starters did against the Rockets. Russell Westbrook with 20 points. LeBron added 15, and starting at center, Anthony Davis, 16 and 13, his fourth double-double of the season. The Lakers have now won 4 out of their last 5 games. AD's first start at center worked out pretty well.
Yeah, no, we decided yesterday just, we've been talking about certain points of the season to explore our roster flexibility. And, the way Houston plays, this just seemed like a good opportunity to look at that. I also liked the way we finished the fourth quarter against Cleveland, having Bays and Avery out there, guarding the other two teams' best perimeter players and AD at the 5. So just something we want to look at as a starting group. One of those guys would be the backup center, either DJ or Dwight. Dwight being a scratch. We used DJ. He was great. And, glad we got the win.
With DJ and Dwight, we're great defensively. Well, we can be great defensively with the rim protection and letting our guards come back and get the rebounds and push Bron, Russ, and whoever the other wing is. So it's some good components to us playing big. But there's also good components of us playing, small when I'm at the 5. So we just take it game by game. And obviously there's a matchup where they don't have a real dominant, post presence or a guy who's really dominant on the offensive boards. So we want to look at that small lineup when I'm at the 5. But it can change game by game.
All right, we can keep this simple, guys. It was the first time we've seen it in the regular season this year. BK, I'll start with you. Did you like the look of AD at the 5?
I do. And the thing that I think is so important about why he does, it's not even so much that Anthony Davis is better when he plays the 5, although I do think it plays to his best tendencies, especially when everybody's back and they have a full roster and Frank Vogel can put out everybody that he wants. Their best players get to play more when Anthony Davis plays the 5. And that's not meant as, disrespect to DeAndre Jordan or Dwight Howard. But when you look at the roster composition, it means more minutes for, the guards that they have. And now Avery Bradley and THT when he's back and Wayne Ellington and, and all these players that they have. It just unlocks a lot of really good combinations, particularly when somebody like Carmelo Anthony is playing as well as he is. And they don't play to their strength as much when they have 2 bigs on the floor.
Anyone follows you on Twitter, I know you were excited about seeing this because you had some stats, you had some numbers, you were ready to go.
Yeah, so I have it here. The Lakers were +8 with AD at the 5. They were +2 in any other minutes. And I think that just, it unlocks AD at the 5. It unlocks Russell Westbrook, I think, in a half-court setting where, yes, when the Lakers are getting out in transition, maybe it is okay to have Dwight or DJ in there as a lob threat. But when you're getting into half-court basketball, I think you want as much spacing around Russell Westbrook as possible. And that's where just not having that other guy in the dunker spot unlocks Westbrook getting downhill. I think it unlocks LeBron defensively, where you saw him making a bunch of plays. He had 4 steals, led the team. So I think not only does it allow the Lakers to put their best players on the floor together, it unlocks their stars in their natural positions.
Yeah, and I would feel a little bit differently if I thought that DeAndre Jordan was as dominant as he used to be with the Clippers 5-10 years ago, which is an unfair expectation for him, because it would take some of that defensive load away. But I don't think that's really what happens when he's out there. So you're still asking LeBron and AD, and now to a degree Westbrook, to play those elevated defensive roles. But I think Jovan's exactly right, not in the most ideal of circumstances. So you're kind of getting a little bit of the worst of both worlds.
Look, I think we all would agree that when it comes to this team in transition, that's not the problem. But you can't play a full 48 minutes running up and down like a track meet. And so as they continue to try to establish that half-court setting, you talk about unlocking those opportunities. I do want to get your take on, you mentioned it, when you're talking about guys, 3-and-D guys like Avery Bradley and Kent Bazemore, when you have Anthony Davis at the 5, what did you see specifically with those 3 playing together? It's
just easier. I mean, they have the space then to go out and play downhill. You get Westbrook into the lane, kick out to Bazemore, kick out to Carmelo Anthony, kick out to Avery Bradley. Those shots, I mean, if you're a 3-point shooter, you want to come play for the Lakers. Like, you are going to have more open three-pointers than you've ever dreamed of in your entire career. And, you know, LeBron will find you. Westbrook will find you. AD is a good passer, you know, out of that center position. It's just everything about it makes more sense. It lets them run easier. It makes their spacing better. It helps Westbrook without having to, you know, to get downhill without people in his way. Everything is better.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this formula work for the Lakers. The 2020 title, they won that with LeBron and AD at the 4 and the 5 and 3 perimeter guys around them. We saw it last season in crunch time. They would go to that lineup. This is the best way, I think, to use LeBron and AD. So I don't know if you start that full time. I think you should. I don't know if Frank is going to go in that direction. Obviously, Dwight Howard was out. That was another factor here where you didn't have to pick between Dwight and DJ with that backup role and kind of tell one of those guys, hey, you're out of the rotation. But I do think we've seen it work time and time again, 2020 and 2021. And I think this is the best way to use those two.
The beauty, though, of those two bigs, Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan, is that they would be accepting of that role and still be professionals. Moving on, the latest injury update as we take a look right here. Wayne Ellington dealing with that hamstring. We're going to have sound on him coming up in just a minute. Dwight Howard listed as questionable, still with that neck soreness. LeBron James listed as questionable as well. However, if you saw a tweet that he put out not too long ago, he said he can't wait to hoop tomorrow night. So take that for what it's worth. Wayne Ellington practiced with the South Bay Lakers on Monday, spoke about his progress on the court.
Yeah, I feel great, man. I feel great. It was good to come out here and get with these young guys and get some work in. You know, the Lakers, you know, we're a little older group, so we don't do as much physical work in our practices. So it's good to get out here and get up and down.
How exciting will it be when you get to get out there?
Super excited, man. I've been really excited the past few games. I've been dressing out my uniform, and I've just been out there just, you know, watching everything play out, and just excited to get out there, man, help the team whatever way I can.
Any indication or thoughts when you
get back to it? I mean, today was a great test for me. I feel great right now, so I'm going to get with the medical staff and have some conversations, and hopefully I'll be out there ASAP.
Nothing better than having guys next to you that are versatile. Shout out to producer B. Moore. He went to the courts today. We let him out of the studio, and he just had that one-on-one interview with Wayne Ellington, showing his skill.
That is dedication.
That is dedication. It's commitment. It was done just right. Good job, B. Moore. With that said, Wayne, practicing with the South Bay Lakers, what are we expecting, anticipating with him?
I'm excited to see how he fits because everybody knows the Lakers brought in Wayne Ellington because he's an established three-point shooter who has gravity. He moves defenders around. You have to honor that shot in ways that are different than even Malik Monk, who is not, shot 40% in Charlotte last year, but not as well respected with that shot. Or Kent Bazemore shot 41% with Golden State. Same deal. People respect the shot of Wayne Ellington, so you can use him in different ways and draw defenses. I want to see what it looks like with him out on the floor. He was my presumptive starter before the season began, so I don't think he's going to be doing that anymore, but we'll see.
Same. I think heading into the season, Wayne Ellington was the Lakers' best shooter on paper. We've seen what Carmelo Anthony's been able to do, 52.2% on over 6 attempts a game. I'm just imagining Wayne Ellington in those weak side spots and LeBron and Russ driving and kicking to him and defenses having to make that choice. Do we help off on the drive and leave Wayne, or do we stay with Wayne and then LeBron or Russ is getting to the rim? So I think he's another shooter that's going to really expand defenses and make them, make some tough decisions, because still, even with some of the Lakers' good shooters out there, they're packing the paint against Malik Monk, Austin Reeves. I don't think you can do that against Wayne Ellington.
And it's like a whole other deal. Like, Wayne Ellington is a three-point shooter. He's J.J. Redick. He's Kyle Korver. He's in that mold of player where they have a set of skills on how they move and where coaches put them and how they come off a screen. And, we were talking about this before we started taping, just like, Jovan was saying, just the way that you design plays for Wayne Ellington is different. And I'm excited to look like it's another tool for Frank Vogel to go to.
But what's interesting is we've seen it, and I'm not comparing him to Carmelo Anthony, but Carmelo Anthony is a professional scorer. It's different than being a catch-and-shoot guy, whereas Wayne, to your point, this is what he does. And you see the looks that Carmelo Anthony is getting. If I'm Wayne, I would be ready to go as well.
I've been shaman everybody trying to make that leg better. Let's get out here. Let's go.
Absolutely.
I want to say this. I think Wayne Ellington's underrated defensively. I thought his ability in the preseason to almost kind of like offensively, he's navigating screens. Defensively, he's doing the same thing and kind of chasing guys around the baseline. So I think that he's not just someone who's you're throwing in there just for his shooting. I think defensively, he's a little bit better than people give him credit for.
It'll be definitely nice to have him back. One other point, guys, in terms of the injuries, THT got his stitches is out. Frank said the team is hopeful that he can start shooting on Tuesday. With that said, you're not going to rush him back, but I think this is just positive progression when it comes to rotation players that this team certainly wants to count on, and THT is one of those guys.
Yeah, they need him back on the floor because everybody that's missing right now has a certain skill set that Frank Vogel can use to try to figure out these combinations. There's so many new players, and when you talk about THT, he brings an element of ball handling on the wing, secondary playmaking, and all that kind of stuff that unlocks other combinations. Do you need now to have Westbrook on the floor with AD and LeBron? Can you play with LeBron? Can you play with Austin Reeves? All these other ideas that they have, because his skill set's just a little bit different, and he can still attack the rim. When they get Kendrick Nunn back, you're talking about somebody who plays downhill and can attack the rim. So they need all the tools back if they're going to figure out, Jovan, the continuity that they're looking for and find these best floor combinations.
Yeah, I think the thing for me that I'm most looking forward to with THT is his defense. We've talked about the defense. It's been the theme of the season, right? And the Lakers' defensive struggles this season. I look at him as someone that Rob Pelinka and Frank Vogel singled out in the preseason comments as we're challenging THT to step up and be a defensive wing stopper for this group. And looking at kind of the guys that are available, I think he can take some of those minutes. And we've seen him do it on the ball. I think for him it's been off the ball where getting around screens, help defense, making those rotations. Right. That's where he needs to improve. And I think getting to maybe watch from the bench a little bit and learn and talk with different guys can elevate your defense, I think, just from kind of having that vantage point. So for me, that's what I'm looking for from him, because I think the ball handling, they have enough of that with LeBron and Russ and AD. For me, it's going to be the defensive end. And can you stand out on that end and really establish yourself in the rotation?
Yeah, whoever does is going to play more. We're seeing that with that Avery Bradley, Malik Monk dynamic right now, too.
Speaking of standing out, this was not between the lines. This, however, was outside. In case you missed it, there was a perfect doppelganger screenshot from the game. Check out the fan over LeBron's shoulder. This tweet coming from LeBron, this actually kind of creeped me out for a second. Saying, Ayo, true definition of two places at the same damn time. Somebody tell Pat C if he wants to be me for Halloween, just ask me. LOL. Pat C is actually Rockets guard Josh Christopher's brother Patrick, who added on Instagram, but I end up being a twin. Thrawn, all of this has my phone blowing up, bro. Call my people for Space Jam 3. Now, Patrick, for a little bit more context, he was an ex-NBA player himself. He played 4 games for the Jazz and added on his own Instagram story, let's give a little backstory for the internet. Been working Braun camp since 2007 every summer while I was in college at Cal. The whole thing is a fun story. You should Google it and read Stand on Monday. With more, Chris and Rob.
Thank you, Allie. Rob, Sunday night, Halloween night. Lakers play some scary defense. Was that the best defense you've seen them play start to finish? Although they did have a little bit of a...
They had a little scare there. But, I
let down in the fourth. Yeah. But come on, it's basketball.
Yeah, it's early in the season. You're going to have some hiccups. And I'm looking at the way they played on the perimeter. The Rockets have a lot of young guards who like to be dynamic with the basketball. And you had Avery, West, and all those guys playing really good defense on them, especially Bazemore. Let's not forget about him. Yep. But they played really good defense on him and held those guards to a low-scoring output.
15 steals and 9 blocks. Did anybody stick out to you on that end of the floor?
Got to talk about Carmelo, man.
Yeah.
Carmelo had 4 blocks. If you watch Carmelo, he's probably the best at doing that behind-the-back block. He's so good at just swatting really quick. He has really quick hands, and he does that a lot and gets a lot of tips with that. And plus, he had, 2 steals, too? The guy was awesome on defense. And the crazy part, they said that was his best defensive outing since his rookie year.
That's crazy when you think about that. It's funny, the last couple of years, people always talk about you need a spot-up shooter. You need guys who can spread the floor. You need guys who can hit threes. Is Melo the best spot-up shooter on this team?
At home, he is.
We forget how good he is shooting the basketball. At home, he is. Did you see his at-home splits?
Yeah.
23 for 34 at home.
That's ridiculous.
Shooting threes. That's like when you're warming up and you catch fire, right?
Exactly. That's when you're in the gym by yourself with no defense. And the way he's shooting the ball at home is amazing. And if you watch him on the road, he has the same shots. But I think sometimes guys are just more comfortable at home. You get to sleep in your own bed. You get to have what pregame meal you want. And you can just get, zoned in. And so when he's at home, he's zoned in. I think, he was in New York.
Yeah.
That's the lights. That's the limelights. L.A., really, the limelight.
Yeah.
So I think he likes playing on that stage.
By the way, they only had a couple of road games, so it's not like there's a huge sample size, right?
But he is 1 for 12.
But he is. But he is 1 for 12. What'd you think of Russ?
When you look at Russ, I think about this situation of turnovers. The turnover situation hasn't been good for him. So 2 turnovers, that's great.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, he hasn't been shooting the ball well from 3. And then he hit 2 threes. And so he's trending up, as James would say. So everything he's doing, he's moving on up like the Jeffersons.
So you see Avery Bradley getting more minutes. Malik Monk now coming off the bench.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see how Frank, figures out minutes for everybody. We haven't seen Rondo much lately. So,
Reeves is playing really well defensively. Bradley's playing really well defensively. And Vogel has shortened his rotation.
Yeah.
I think he knows we need to set a tone, not just with the team, but to make a statement around the league that we are defensive-minded. And also, it gives the players a sense of when they're coming in, what they need to do, and how they need to go out and play. And when you have that continuity with the system, the rotation system, guys know what to do. So they're playing extremely well, especially, Reeves and Bradley. I didn't expect Bradley to come in and play as well as he has, but he's, it's like he never left.
Let's break something down really quick before we go here. The best thing that happened on Sunday night was you scaring Allie in the pregame show. What was behind that? When did you think of doing that? Explain it to the, we're going to show it at some point in the show. So.
Well, I was thinking Allie's like my little sister.
Yeah.
I love her to death. So you always pick on your little sister.
Yep.
So at first, my whole thing was to break up the whole 3-point play with Brez. And I was like, nah, because I couldn't come around the corner right.
Yeah.
So I said that was the only corner I could come around right. So I had this, plot and scheme with Brez and tell him, I'm going to come in at this point of your 3-point play. As soon as you start talking about the East, and I was going to scare Allie.
So Brez was behind it.
Brez was.
And
Brez
you had the
was
Michael Myers mask?
Yes, I had. No, it was it.
Oh,
it was the
mask.
it mask. And Marissa, she had the behind the scenes recording me. So it was a great moment. It's Halloween. It's all about the scare.
Yeah.
Make sure you know I come on the show right
Her
there.
scream was real.
It was so
we should
funny.
try to get you.
Yeah.
Her scream was real.
Yeah, it was fun, though. Man, it's Halloween. It was a trick or treat, and she got tricked.
Yeah, she did. All right, Rob, we appreciate your time. Back to you, Allie.
7 games of the season, he is leading the league in 3-point percentage at a little over 52%, ahead of names like Steph Curry, Buddy Hield, and C.J. McCollum. His teammate Russell Westbrook knew all it would take is the right opportunity for Melo.
From the phone call I had with Melo to tell him to come to Oklahoma City when he was in New York, until now, he's always been willing to do what's better for the team and what's better, for that particular situation at the time. Obviously, sometimes it may have not looked as if he was willing to do so, but the conversation we had as men and as brothers, he's always been straight up and honest with me on, where he see himself for the upcoming season, and to see him just kind of really take in and own the space is just amazing, because I know he's at peace. That's the only thing that matters. Us as athletes and as people fail to realize that we are people, human beings like everybody else, and we go do different things that are more difficult to handle. And for him to be able to see that he's at a place of peace and comfort with himself is the most thing I'm most important about. Basketball stuff will take care of itself. He's a Hall of Famer, and will leave this game with his head up regardless of what happens. But him as a person and who he has become over the last couple of years is, to me, the most important part.
I think people don't really understand me. I think there's a misconception out there about me and not being able to adapt to situations, but I'm easily adaptable, man, to any situation. I've always tried to adapt to every situation that I've been in. Some was better than others, but this is just a easy adaptation for me to just be here, be around the guys, basketball minds that I'm around alongside myself, and just being ready, just staying ready, understanding what's needed from me on a night-to-night basis, and just being prepared. I think for me now it's just all about just being mentally prepared for whatever is being thrown at us. And the rest will take care of itself. It's basketball at that point.
Powerful stuff there from both Russ and Melo. Year 19, Jovan from Melo. How would you describe the spark he's been able to give to the Lakers?
I think he's in the 6th man of the year running. It's only been 7 games, so there's that caveat, of course. But his ability to pop in the pick and pop and just be a catch and shoot threat. Frank has talked about putting him on the weak side on a lot of these actions as that safety valve when LeBron and Russ are driving. They're packing the paint. Melo's there, and I don't know why teams are leaving him open. At a stat, 84% of his three-pointers so far have been open or wide open per NBA.com.
Wow,
that's just
good
insane that you would leave Melo, the guy shooting 52%.
It's not how I would do it, but
no, but I think
sitting here, I don't know.
It points to his spark, and again, I just think he's been great off the bench. The defense is kind of came and gone. It hasn't been great to start, but he did have the 4 blocks and 2 steals last night, and that you're not going to rely on that on a nightly basis.
No,
but it was impressive.
It just needs to be good enough. Like, he could close games, you could start him. Like, if the defense is good enough, you can do a lot of stuff with Carmelo Anthony that open a lot of options. And it's just my favorite story of the year so far. Like, he's such a perfect fit around the big three that not only is it fun, and I love listening to him after games and practices, they should sign him for the next 10 years just for that.
Yeah.
But it feels sustainable. He's not going to shoot 52%.
My question, can he
But he can
sustain
shoot
it?
42, 43, 40. And he does that. That's a profoundly important thing for this team.
Good insight from the both of you on that. That state, 84%, that stat? Yeah, that's impressive.
He went to NBA. I counted. I actually counted each one.
Back on Friday, Russell Westbrook had a moment that went viral in the win against the Cavs. Westbrook was feeling the music, and it showed as he crossed half court. Russ is nothing but authentic, and he spoke about that viral moment today at practice.
Literally, like when you're from LA, certain music, certain tunes just kind of hit you differently, and then, like, I don't know, all I heard was the music. I was like, oh, this is my joint right here. You know, that's my, and then my feet start moving. You know, that's just how it works for me. So, and I love to dance, and it's something that I kind of enjoy doing. So, kind of happened in the middle of the game. But that also goes to, like, what I mentioned after that game about just our swag and my energy. Like, that's who I am. And, like, in order for us to be who we need to be, I need to be who I am and be free and do things where, to me, it seems normal, but for everybody else, it's like, what the hell was he doing? You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm okay with that, but, like, that brings a good energy to my team, to my teammates, and it puts us in a happy place. And I always remember, like, throughout the season and throughout a game, you always want to make sure you're having fun, win, lose, or draw, because if you're not, it's kind of becomes, for me personally, I get so tense. I'm just super focused and not having no fun, then I lose track of kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. So that also was a combination of all that, just having some fun, smiling, and enjoying the game.
BK for Russ, only 2 turnovers in 25 minutes against the Rockets. Last week against the Spurs, I believe. 40 minutes played, just 3. Starting to find his groove, do you think?
I think so. And I think the balance here is between trying to be Russell Westbrook, but now you got to fit in with LeBron James, you got to fit in with Anthony Davis, and you also have to try not to try too hard. And you hear him talking about that a little bit, like, the care factor with Russ is off the charts. If you think he's a good fit, bad fit, you are not going to find anybody in the NBA who cares about winning and performing more than Russell Westbrook. And the pressure I think he felt, particularly in those early games, particularly in the preseason, to come out and be awesome and fit in and do everything at once, I think it was too much. And I think he's slowly settling back a little bit. I think the shot selection's been pretty good. I think the shot volume has been pretty good. Cut down on the turnovers, and I think everything's going to be fine.
My bad, I misspoke there. It was just 2 turnovers in 35 minutes, which is even more impressive. My bad, Russ. With that, we knew there would be an adjustment period, ahead, behind, right on schedule. What would you say?
I would say it's right on schedule. You know, I think if anything, it might even be ahead of schedule with his turnovers reducing, and I think his shot selection has been better the last couple of games. And honestly, I wonder if LeBron missing a couple of games ended up being a blessing in disguise for Russell Westbrook, where he was able to run the show, so to speak, for a couple of games. I thought the San Antonio game in particular was his best game as a Laker. And then even the OKC game, yes, he had the high turnover number, but he had his first triple-double, and I felt like for at least the first half of that game, he looked like himself. So I think that kind of got this in the right direction. And then the past couple of games with LeBron, he's picked the spots and kind of found when to attack, when to look for his teammates. And I think it's headed in the right direction right now.
Yeah, first triple-double, hopefully last quadruple-double.
Yeah.
But,
I left that part out.
And I think that, we're seeing little things that the Lakers are doing just kind of schematically, little two-man game with LeBron James where they're using Westbrook as a screener and having him drop, moving him around, keeping him active away from the ball and putting defenses in very difficult positions. And I think that can work both with LeBron and Westbrook, with Westbrook and AD, with the three of them together. And, but it will take 25, 30 games at least, I think, to really get this dialed in.
BK, we all want everything to be perfect like yesterday. Especially when it comes to the stars. That's what they're supposed to do. Just kidding. I'm with you. Straight ahead, everyone needs to call Doubt It. Jovan, since you're excited, I'm going to start with you.
Let's do it.
For the first one. Count it or doubt it. Carmelo Anthony, Jovan will finish in the top 10 in three-point percentage this season.
I'm going to say count it. I mean, he's currently leading the league right now at 52.2%. I think he'll maintain low to mid 40s. That's good enough for top 10.
Okay. I wasn't very convinced by the I'll say count it, but I got you.
Count it!
Thank you, BK. You're counting.
I mean, look, the man is going to shoot a gajillion open threes, and he gets that shot off quickly. 3/4 of me from the corner where they all go in. And I agree with Jovan. We're looking at 42, 43, 40, even 44%, which will land you in the top 10.
If you're a Laker fan, you like both of your answers, no matter how they were delivered. All right, Jovan, back to you. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Count it or doubt it. Anthony Davis will start 1/3 of his games at center.
I'm going to say count it. I think once Frank Vogel went in this direction, you can't go back.
Right.
And to me, looking at the numbers, it all backs up 80 at the 5 is the Lakers' best center combination. And I think you got to commit to it.
Do the math quick. What's 1/3 of the games?
1/3 is about 20-something, right?
Okay.
27
something.
So he's counted.
I'm going with something. I will also say count it, but I don't think he'll stay with it game to game. But overall, he will start to lean in that direction. If you'd said half, I might have gone doubt, but you said third. I'll say count it.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
All right, Jovan, back to you. Lakers have held teams to under 111 points in the last 2 games. Count it or doubt it, the Lakers defense is finally back.
I got to doubt it. I mean, they played Houston, who to me is probably the second worst team in the NBA behind the Oklahoma City Thunder, who they also happen to play this week. So I think the defense is back for this week, but I want to see a bigger sample size
for this week
before I count it.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, no.
Should we just leave doubt it up there? Okay.
Just leave it there. Yeah. No. No. We got a lot of work. Got a lot of work to do. They came into that game 27th, I believe, in the league. Houston. I need to see it against somebody more than Houston a little bit. Yeah, no,
you gave me a lot of no. Okay, you're
trying to be optimistic here, but no.
Okay, Jovan, this is the last one. Lakers have won 2 in a row. Count it or doubt it. The Lakers will extend their win in a row to 5 games or more, which would be a streak. So I've learned in the break. You got Houston, OKC at Portland.
It would be a streak. I'm going to say doubt it. I think they lose that game at Portland.
Okay.
I think they went out the rest of the week. Houston, OKC, to me, are the two worst teams in the NBA. But I think that game at Portland is going to be a tough one. We know Portland tends to play a lot better at home. And I think Dave's going to have a big night.
Did you know we had fans in the building?
Where do you think you are? To quote Will Ferrell, we're going streaking. 10. Why not? No, I think 5. One of those is it's Oklahoma City again.
Yeah,
it's
Houston
again. Those are barely NBA teams.
If they win the Portland game, I could see 10.
But he doesn't have.
Look at me. He went from no to 10.
Well, I think
count it. At least 5.
At least 5. It's 4 streak.
No.
Were you Will Ferrell for Halloween?
No.
If not, you should be, because that was
brilliant.
Great.
Yes,
impressive.
Yeah, we gotta get people excited.
The energy is here. We're heading to break. On the other side, we will wrap things up. Going in cold, I don't give you credit.
I'm not afraid.
No, you